sorry, TJ Dillashaw. We got TJ Dillashaw. The thing is, he's saying he feels great now. But the problem is, and I know this, I think I spoke to somebody recently. Who did we have on? And I said, getting down to 185 for so long in my career definitely took a toll on me. And in training camp, I felt great. But by the time the fight came, so much dieting, I was weak. I was so weak and I wasn't the best version of myself. So TJ may fall foul to that. I'm sure he's got a great team around him. I'm sure he's got nutritionists and things like that and everybody helping him get him dialed in just right. But that is the danger. Of course, this is unprecedented. TJ is going from 135 down to 125. So it's TJ that has nothing to lose in this instance. Normally, it's the lower weight class going up to challenge. So, like DC going up to heavyweight, Conor going from 45 to 55. Normally, that's the way around it is. This time, TJ is going down. So TJ is the one with no pressure because he's not going to lose his belt.
There's still pressure because you're losing to a guy that's smaller than you that you should beat. I mean, there's like the pressure of it's embarrassing. If you lose to the 125-pound champion, you can essentially say that I would feel like I'm not, like my championship isn't as valuable. I would feel like, shit, dude, the guy that's smaller than me beat me. He really is the rightful owner of this belt because it's not like he would have, if we were fighting heavier. I mean, I guess there's something to say about not having to lose the weight so TJ wouldn't be at that disadvantage. But if he loses to Cejudo, I feel like Cejudo, number one, obviously would get a shot at the 135-pound title because it makes sense. But I think it would be massively embarrassing at the very least for TJ, and it would fuck with his ego.
Oh, for sure, 100%. 100%. I mean, listen, when you're a fighter, you don't want to lose a fight, period. Whether you're the champion or not, whether you're the champion in the main event or the first fight on Fight Pass prelims, you don't want to lose. You've put all that time and effort into a fight. You've put so much time into preparation, sacrifice. You haven't been chasing money elsewhere, saying no to a lot of potential opportunities, time away from your family. You do not want to lose a fight regardless. But of course, you don't want to lose to a smaller guy because that rubs a little salt in the wound for sure. I think, though, on paper, TJ should win this pretty comfortably. I'll save my predictions because I'm going to be doing it on TV. And we have another show on Thursday. But, I mean, if you look at it, TJ's got the better footwork. He's got the better striking for sure. He's very unpredictable. He's got more experience in the UFC. He's beaten some fantastic competition as well. He has a higher finishing rate. He has more tools. He's got tremendous kicks, excellent striking. He's a very, very good wrestler himself. Of course, he's not Olympic gold medal standard like Cejudo is, but he's a very, very good wrestler. And MMA wrestling and wrestling are two very different things. So I think the wrestling will, for the most part, be nullified and it'll become a striking match, of which I favor TJ Dillashaw. He's probably faster as well.
Yeah, you're probably right about all that. But you never know. I mean, you never know. I think nobody saw Demetrius Johnson losing that fight. And you know what? Cejudo, once again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Once you have UFC gold around your waist, once you taste that success, I think a lot of other things open up to you. I think you see the true potential in a guy once he becomes the champion. And, you could speak to that more than most people in the world can. But I don't know. I think this is going to be a really big test for Cejudo. I have no idea. It's kind of it's a weird thing. It's a big question mark for Cejudo. I have no idea really how good he is because that division that he's the champion of, it's such a thin division without that much competition.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. And this will be a big opportunity for both guys. This is the first fight on ESPN, ESPN Plus. So if you don't have the app, go out and buy it because it's not an advert, but it's $4.99. If you like MMA, you like UFC, $4.99. Come on, everyone can afford that. And you get to see yours truly breaking down the fights on Friday with Karen Bryant, myself, Rashad Evans. So come on, guys, what the fuck? And it's actually a really, really good card. Some great fights from top to bottom. But one that I do want to talk about, get your opinion, is Greg Hardy takes on, what's his name, Harrington? Who's he taking on?
Crowder.
It's a heavyweight. Alan Crowder. Now, Greg Hardy, for those that don't know much about the NFL or American football, for the English listeners or whatever, Greg Hardy was a standout NFL player. He had a terrific career. If you have any stats or any more info, please feel free to say them. But He was involved in a charge of domestic abuse. Apparently, he beat his wife up pretty good. Apparently, he was thrown out of the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm getting this wrong, I apologize. And I think he had a massive, massive contract, something like $40 million or something crazy like that.
Wow.
He was charged criminally, I think, and he was kicked out of the NFL. Since then, he's what's the word I'm looking for?
Rehabilitated?
Not rehabilitated. That he may have done that. We'll see. But he's repackaged himself as an MMA fighter, and he had one fight. What's the word I'm looking for? Rebranded. What the fuck is that word?
Retarded.
Something. Retarded. Yes, you are. Good one. No, but he fought in the Contender Series last year in Vegas, and I was there commentating. And this is a big, big, powerful guy. Now, when you think about premier athletes, big, strong guys, I mean, guys in the NFL, they're fucking crazy, man. There's a reason why they get paid so much money, because they are freak athletes. The speed and the power that these guys have is insane. And that was on display in his first fight on the Contender Series. He fought another footballer. I forget the guy's name. And he hit him with I think it was a left hook or a right hook. And the guy spun round in a fucking 360. It was insane. Hit him with such power. He spun round and boom, hit him with another shot. And I was there. I was like, holy shit. That was scary. That was really scary. Now, of course, all the controversy is that he shouldn't be getting rewarded because of the controversy surrounding, well, not the controversy surrounding the fact that he fucking beat his wife up. Now, myself, I detest anyone that hits a woman. 100% I do. And to make matters worse, we have Rachel Ostovich on the card. This isn't breaking news. We all know about this. It's been talked about everywhere. But Rachel Ostovich is on the card. She was recently beaten by her husband. That was a big deal as well. So they're talking about all this crazy controversy that he's on the card with Rachel. I know how I feel about it. How do you feel about that, Lewis?
Well, first of all, fact check. How much of what Michael Bisping said about Greg Hardy was correct? Is this because I want to give my opinion based off of sort of some of these facts?
Hey, everything I said is fucking on the money, Harrington. Before you contradict me, but go ahead with some finer details.
Yes, sir. He was a 2013 Pro Bowler. He was on the second team All-Pro in 2013. He was about to get a massive contract. The Panthers gave him the franchise tag, paying him $14 million for one season. In that season, the domestic violence stuff came out. He was then cut by the Panthers. Cowboys picked him up, tried to make it work. Eventually, he was run out of the NFL.
Okay, so the domestic violence stuff, was he arrested for it? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, he had a domestic violence charge. The finer details of it, from what I understand, he threw his girlfriend into a pile of guns.
I'm sorry. No.
Listen, I am not making light of domestic violence at all. But I'll say this to any would-be wife beaters out there. When you're beating your wife, do not throw them into a pile of guns. Okay?
It's just because a hilariously violent act.
I'm sorry. Yeah, hey, come here, you bitch. I'm going to throw you into a pile of guns.
Oh, shit. Oh, man.
I'm sorry. I should not laugh because it's not funny, but it's just a twist of... And he threw her into a pile of guns.
Oh, my God.
A pile of guns. You couldn't write that. That's insane.
That's so fucking funny. It's cartoonish. He dropped an anvil on her head. What happened?
That would be painful, though. Guns are, metal objects. That would be very, very painful. I'm not making light of it. It's just somewhat ironic that he threw it into a life-ending weapon.
Greg Hardy accused of beating girlfriend, throws her into a pile of guns. What was the accused? Did they work it out? Did he go to jail? What was the sort of the result of this? Like, that's sort of that really depends on my opinion here, because I have to be consistent with sort of the way that I look at life, which is if a man is accused and then simply that, like, I don't believe you should take away anybody, man or woman, their ability to make money, especially if they've invested their entire lives into something, an art, a sport, whatever it is, based off of an accusation, to have everything taken away and not have the ability to make money in a sport or whatever it is. If this is especially the only way that he really knows how to make money, I'm sort of sympathetic toward that. I look at that as being kind of fucked up. But if it's a guy who was arrested, beat the shit out of his wife, is just a fucking scumbag, my dollars as a fan, I don't want to give my money to that guy. So essentially, if I'm buying a UFC pay-per-view, I'm paying him, and I don't believe in that. And then people are, look, I believe in the free market. People will not spend their money there, and they need to look at that. So this is more information. He was found guilty.
Yeah. So I was trying to say, So he went the full course, and as we see here, he was found guilty at a trial. So he was, he was tried. He was found guilty. He was sentenced a 60-year suspended jail sentence, 18 months probation. Listen, at the end of the day, and as I say, shame, and I'm not even going to shame Bell because it's not a light thing to joke about. If we all know you shouldn't be out there hitting women. A man should not hit a woman. And no jokes about gender equality and Me Too and all that shit. Men, keep your fucking hands to yourself when it comes to women. Simple as that, I was around a lot of domestic violence when I was a kid, and the shit's not cool. It doesn't fly with me, and it's not something that should be made light of. But I will say this, I do believe in rehabilitation, and if you pay the price, which he has done. He lost his NFL contract. His name was dragged through the mud. He was put on probation, no doubt given a fine, whatever else. At some point, and what year was this, Harrington? At some point, you have to be given a second chance in life, and he did pay the price. Now, I'm not saying that excuses his actions. I don't. But as I say, I do believe in rehabilitation, and maybe, who knows? I'm not making excuses for him, but maybe there's mitigating circumstances. Maybe he had too much to drink, and that isn't an excuse. Yeah. But it does go towards somewhat potentially as to why he made such a massive, momentous fuck up and acted like such a scumbag.
And that's a good point. There's a lot of variables that people will never know that you have to look at it and go like, all right, well, at what point is the line drawn? What were you going to say, Harrington?
This was in the summer of 2014.
So yeah, it's not that, it's only 4 years ago. It's not that long ago, but at the same time, like, it is tough. It's actually, it's a tougher thing than you think. I mean, I just feel like, it's really tough.
Well, I'm very, very tolerant about a lot of things, but I don't stand for a man hitting a woman. Simple as that, you know. And of course, that's nothing revolutionary to say. But as I say, I do believe in rehabilitation. And that was almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago. I mean, what do you do? Do you just have a policy where the UFC doesn't accept anybody with a criminal record or
maybe a lot of guys that would be violence? Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say, because lo and behold, unfortunately, fighters, guess what? Maybe they got into a few scraps when they were younger. Now, getting into a bar fight or a few scraps is very different, again, from hitting a woman. I keep making this same point because I don't want my words to be misconstrued and taken out of fucking context. But as I say, at some point, you should be allowed. What are we saying? This guy should never be allowed to make money, because
and then also
it's paid a massive.
Well, yeah, you're right. And there's also, it's like, what? Can he never make money at anything? So what? He can work at a dentist's office, but he can't work as a fighter. He can work, he can work as a security guard, but he can't work in the UFC. It's a weird thing. So no, you can't take away people. You're right. I agree with you. You can't take away somebody's ability to make money.
The reality is, sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
The reality is, he's never going to be able to undo the wrong that he did. Okay, that's the reality. The reality is that what happened that night and what that woman had to go through, I'm sure was terrible. And we shouldn't laugh, although throwing her onto a pile of guns was fucking hilarious.
It's the funniest way to beat a woman.
It really is. I'm going to throw you into the best possible weapon you could possibly have. And not just one of them, a lot of them. I'm going to throw you into a pile of guns. The word was pile. It wasn't like one, numerous, several. It was a fucking pile of guns.
The only thing funnier would have been is if he would have stuffed her into a cannon and shot her out his window.
That's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. No, listen, the reality is nothing that he can say or do will ever change the course of events which happened that night. And I'm sure that woman will have to live with them. And she's probably scarred and suffered physically, mentally, and it probably haunts her to this day. And it's disgusting. It's disgraceful. But as I said, I do believe in rehabilitation, and time has passed. He served his punishment. He was kicked out of the NFL. He had massive financial loss, and he was branded a criminal for it, and paid his consequence. So I don't have too much of an issue with him fighting in the UFC now. I don't, and maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, I welcome other people's opinions to show me where I'm wrong in thinking that. Also, with Rachel Ostovich being on the card, again, she says that she's fine with that. Incidentally, she's still with her husband, the guy that beat her. So, But she said she's fine with it. But I've seen a lot of backlash, a lot of websites, a lot of news, TV shows that are all making a big deal out of this, saying that this is bullshit. It was insensitive by the UFC. But by all accounts, I heard that Rachel Ostovich had no problem with it. And again, I agree with that because, listen, it's a sad thing, but I don't know. Lewis, what have you got? All right, guys, today's show is brought to you by none other than the Ridge wallet. We've talked about this many times, but your wallet in your pocket right now is probably old, tatty, full of receipts, full of crap. And if you pull it out of the bar, you look like a loser. You do. Well, what do you need to do? You need to up your wallet game. And the Ridge wallet, they've got you started. These things are modern. They're sophisticated. They're non-bulky. They're slim. They will fit in your skinny jeans. They won't bulge. They carry all your credit cards, and then you've got a little clip at the back to put money in it. Lewis, I know you love yours.
I love it, dude. Every time I pull it out, I just feel like a ninja. It's very slick and sexy and sleek. If you're trying to look like you're classy, if you want to pull your wallet out and feel like you're fucking James Bond, this is it, okay? It's basically two metal plates bound together by a durable elastic band. It's nothing like any other traditional wallet you've ever seen. It forces you to not keep junk in your wallet because it's just designed for your cards and your cash. Really cool. Really cool product. I love it. Everyone that has it here at Gas Digital loves it. I know, Bisping, you love it. So we have a pretty great deal here. If you guys go to ridgewallet.com, that is ridgewallet.com/BYM, or use the promo code BYM in the link in the description, you save 10% off your entire purchase. So grab your Ridge wallet right now. It gives you a lifetime warranty, so it'll be the last wallet you ever buy. Once again, that is ridgewallet.com/BYM.